Okay, so let's start with a demo e-commerce application. This is called Yum's Cheesesteaks in homage to a cheesesteak restaurant from my past. I grew up in a little town. We had Yum's Cheesesteaks. It will forever live on in our arteries. So if you want to go and buy something from Yum's, you got to first sign in. To do that, we're going to use the standard Clerk integration with TanStack Start. Really easy to do. And of course, now that I'm logged in, I can add items to the cart and I can clear the cart, no problem. But we live in the time of AI, so let's go and bring up Claude and see if we can connect Claude with Yum's Cheesesteaks and get Claude to make the orders for us. Now to do that, I need to configure it. So I'm going to bring up the configuration. So I'm going to add this MCP remote server. Now this is actually just a standard IO MCP server that actually connects to a service, in this case, localhost 3000 API SSE. It's going to do all the work of doing all the authorization for Claude with Clerk. So to see that, let's reboot Claude. Now, immediately when we bring up Claude, that's going to launch that MCP remote, which is then going to go and authenticate us through that same Clerk service. So we'll authenticate as the exact same person. So now Claude and the web are both connected to exactly the same user, me. And now we can see the tools that Yum's Cheesesteak site gives us. It gives us get menu to get the list of menu items, as well as the user specific things like add to cart, get cart items, and clear cart that just affect my cart. So let's go and ask it for lunch for 10 under 150 bucks. And first it goes off and gets the menu, and then it goes and adds a bunch of stuff to the cart. Comes in under 150 bucks. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, there's nothing really new here, right? You could just add an AI chat panel to Yum's and get this exact functionality. Bringing in Claude is kind of overkill. But let's just say that you are an HR person or an office manager at a company. And so you've got one data source, which is your HR data that has all the information about what people like to eat. And then you got Yum's Cheesesteaks on the other side. And you want to connect those two. So when somebody asks you for an order for a meeting, it automatically knows, hey, I'm going to go and get the preferences for people's food over here and then apply them to Yum's over there. So let's try that out. First thing we need to do is bring in this HR server. This is just a local small MCP server that has a static list of a couple of people and their food preferences. So let's ask it to go give us a table of the preferences for those people. And it gets that back just fine. And now we can ask Claude to go and take that data that it got back from that HR server and then use it to go and order the right stuff from Yum's. And it does a good job with that. And so this is what they're calling a multi-agent agentic workflow. So Claude in this case is a multi-agent. It's talking to multiple MCP servers and acting in an agentic fashion by going, getting data from one place and using it to actually make changes somewhere else by, like, say, adding to a cart. This is actually pretty cool. And it's not something you can do by just having a single chat panel on Yum's Cheesesteaks, because Yum's Cheesesteaks couldn't connect to that other MCP server. All right, so now we see what's going on. Let's go over and take a look at the code and see how this is actually done. All right, so here's the code that's available to you on GitHub for free, and a link in the description right down below. The really important app is Yum's Cheesesteaks. And let's talk about authorization first. So all the Clerk keys go over here in EMD example. And then we're just going to use the off-the-shelf components to go and give us the web UI for logging in and logging out. There's nothing too exciting about that. Let's talk about how MCP actually works. So I've got this MCP server over here. This is our MCP server, Yum's Cheesesteaks MCP. It's got the tools, get menu, add to cart, and all that. But things like add to cart take an auth info, and that auth info says who we are. So how do we get that auth info? If you look over here at utils, there is this utils auth, and utils auth has this with MCP auth. And this is actually what does the kind of bridging between Clerk and MCP. So it takes in the incoming request and the token, and then it checks to go and see if we're authorized. And if we are authorized, then it adds that auth response to the request as request.auth. But how does MCP know to actually make any of these calls? Well, it actually starts with the public directory. We got a file here called .wellknown and OAuth protected resource. So this is the first thing that MCP remote does. It actually calls off to this well-known OAuth protected resource endpoint to go and get all the information that it needs to figure out how to connect to this server. The two super important pieces of information here are the resource, that would be what we're connecting to. So in this case, localhost 3000, but also the authorization server. So now the authorization server could be the same between those two things, but in this case, we're using Clerk to do the authorization and then having the resource, the MCP resource, be the localhost. So once MCP remote has gotten this and run the user through actually authenticating and getting all that, then it's going to make a request to that API SSE endpoint. So let's go take a look at that. So this is the API SSE endpoint, and it uses that with MCP auth that we just created over in utils auth. And we give that with MCP auth, our Clerk auth, as well as a handler, and that handler only gets called if we're authorized. Outside of this is just the standard SSE server transport from the Model Context Protocol SDK. And as part of that SSE transport, we tell the endpoint to go and send messages to, and that in this case is API messages. API messages also uses that with MCP auth, and this is the one that actually really needs to know who you are. Because down here on line 18, when we call handle message to actually handle the incoming JSON RPC 2.0 request, we have to give it the authorization. Who are you? So that when you do add to cart, we know that you are Jack making that request. And then over in our server, under add to cart, we get that as extended metadata on top of the request. That's the second parameter, so we get auth info as part of that. And from there, we can get the subject, that's who you are, and we can use that user ID to add an item to the cart. So now we know how we've authenticated Clerk on the website and also with MCP. Let's talk a little bit about the cart, because that's actually pretty interesting, right? Because there's this live connection. So that when the MCP side gets a request to go and add something to the cart, it automatically shows up on the web. So how are we doing that? Well, let's start figuring that out by taking a look at where this add to cart comes from. Well, it comes from cart. So let's take a look at that. So cart is just a simple in-memory cart storage. But what it has is actually pretty unique is this list of subscribers. I can subscribe to a cart. I can say, tell me any changes to a cart. I give it the user ID and the callback to call when things change. And then if I ever add an item to the cart, then sure, it goes and adds an item to the cart, but it also goes and notifies any subscribers to that cart. So who calls this subscribe to cart? Well, that's over here under API cart. So when the client calls API cart, what it gets back isn't just the cart, it actually gets back an event stream from the cart. We can take a look down starting on line 13. We create a readable stream, and every second we send a ping to the client to see that we're still alive. And then we use that subscribe to cart, given the user ID, to say, hey, if there are any changes to that, then go and take the new cart and send it back to the client if anything changes. And then we take that stream that we just created and return it to the client as a text event stream. Now over on the client, we've got this cart component. So cart uses a use effect to create a new event source that's built into the browser. We point it at API cart. That gives us our server sent event or SSE flow coming back from the server. And then anytime we get a message from the server, we just set the cart with the new contents of the message. And this is how cart updates happen either on the website, click the button, it adds it to the cart. That then sends back a message from the server to the client to go and update the cart. It doesn't actually happen on the client directly. It happens through that SSE mechanism. And the exact same thing works on the MCP side. The MCP UI for the AI goes and adds an item to the cart for that particular user. And if that user is logged in, it automatically shows up. It's a pretty smooth flow. It's cool to see that it is symmetric on both sides, whether you're using the UI for the customer, which would be the web, or you're using the UI for the AI, which would be the MCP endpoints. All right, go check out the code for yourself on GitHub in the link in the description right down below. MCP for HTTP is still pretty Wild West. The standards are still evolving. A lot of these libraries are new or working off PRs. So expect a lot of change in this area. But I think this is actually a pretty cool demo of what you should expect to see in the future with our agents talking to HTTP endpoints. It's really cool stuff. All right, in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to put that in the comment section right down below. If you like this video, do me a solid. Hit that like button. And if you really like the video, hit the subscribe button and click on that bell. You'll be notified the next time a new Blue Collar Coder comes out.